Charlie, I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
My name's Tom. I'm exploring what people refer to as the social layer, I guess. So this idea of the community, the culture that is created on these various coins and tokens, and yourself being the creator of Litecoin, how that's unfolded for you, and it's deviated much from how you imagined it was back on day one.
Yeah. So, I mean, in like 13 years ago when I created this coin, I didn't think too much of it, right? So I just launched it out there. It was kind of a passion project and it kind of just took off. And what's different with Litecoin and Bitcoin is that Bitcoin, the creator Satoshi, kind of just disappeared and no one actually knows who he is. Whereas I'm out there, everyone knows who I am. So in that sense, Litecoin is less decentralized than Bitcoin because there's a creator, me, out there kind of talking about my vision about the coin, whereas with Bitcoin, there is no one out there doing that. The flip side is that things can happen more efficiently on Litecoin because I can be out there pushing for what I think is best from Litecoin. Whereas with Bitcoin, there are people fighting about what Satoshi's vision is. And that's actually an interesting dynamics between the difference between Bitcoin and Litecoin, and I find pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and as I said, like being in that sort of role of founder, if you like, for such a long period, you must have sort of witnessed some of those more in sort of interesting conversations that go on amongst the community, and how they, I guess, perhaps put pressure on you to push in a certain direction.
Yeah, and because of that, things can happen more efficiently on Litecoin. We've seen where grassroots movements are great, but when there are competing grassroots movements, it gets into a stalemate. We saw that with the scaling solutions being proposed when Bitcoin Cash spun out of Bitcoin, where half the people wanted Bitcoin to scale by increasing block space. Half the people wanted Bitcoin to scale on second layer solutions like Lightning Network. And this is where I actually came out and pushed for SegWit adoption and activation on Litecoin, which in terms helped with the SegWit activation on Bitcoin. So that was something where, because I was a creator, I can help kind of push my vision to activate this on Litecoin much easier than it would activate on Bitcoin, and indirectly help Bitcoin.
Why do the people deserve sound money?
I mean, I wouldn't say it as deserve sound money. I think we all want to kind of strive for the best form of money the world has seen, right? And sound money is achieving sound money is kind of a goal that everyone has, to have money where is controlled by the people and where no one can stop you from spending the money, the hard-earned money you earned. I think this is very, very important.
But surely over time can the powers or the individuals start to cooperate and team up and get a sort of central immersion of centralization in this system? You have the risk of...
Yeah, I mean, humans are centralized, right? There's no... everything we do is very centralized. So I think it's important for money itself to be decentralized, but there's nothing wrong with building centralized things on top of it, right? So I don't see anything wrong with centralization. I think the base form of money needs to be decentralized. No one can have control. No one can inflate it without asking for permission, right? Without people can't just control and inflate your money away, and that's important for money.
And this is why we're here at the Proof of Work Summit, because there is this, well, I mean, it's provable that the Proof of Work consensus mechanism is more secure or less subject to attack than is Proof of Stake.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's not... you can't really prove that it's more fair or less susceptible to attack. It's more about what Um, and it's still a theory that proof of work is more less susceptible to attack than proof of stake. I believe it in myself, but until it happens, we won't know for sure how susceptible proof of stake is to attack.
You said you didn't put too much mind on it when you created it, but I assume you must have had some sort of ideas or visions or predictions for the future. Have any of those come to light?
Yeah, so my original thought of Litecoin was to create something that complements Bitcoin, and I've known throughout history people have used gold and silver as money, and I thought Litecoin would be a good complement, just similar to how silver was to gold. So this is where the term Litecoin is silver to Bitcoin's gold came from. So with Bitcoin being digital gold, Litecoin would be digital silver. And the idea is that Litecoin is easier to use. So with faster blocks times, Litecoin is 4 times faster. And also Litecoin transaction fees are a lot lower than Bitcoin. So in that sense, Litecoin did achieve that, being silver to Bitcoin's gold, where it's just easier to use Litecoin because it's faster and also cheaper.
Is there a Litecoin ETF?
It's in the works.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, okay. So there is some appetite for Litecoin from those types of investors.
Sure. Litecoin, just like Bitcoin, is a different asset class. So there are definitely investors interested in investing in Litecoin, and an ETF would make it easier for people to invest in Litecoin. So yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But it's kind of similar to like a gold ETF, right? It's just a different way for people to invest in this asset class, whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, or gold or silver.
Exactly. For them to get exposure in a way that they feel safer.
Yep. Yeah, people don't want to store gold bars at their bank safe. They just rather buy an ETF. And likewise, it's hard to store and protect your cryptocurrency. So buying a Bitcoin ETF would be a very safe and easy way for anyone to get into this exposure to this new asset class.
Right on. Why do you think the community commitment has endured for this long around Litecoin?
Litecoin has proven the test of time, right? It's been around for 13 years, and the network has never been down. It's the oldest running cryptocurrency network out there. It's almost 13 years of zero downtime, and it just works. Happens every 2.5 minute. Transaction fees are cheap, and people can easily send and receive Litecoin transactions without anyone in the world being able to tell you can't do it. So it just works. That's why it's the commitment's there.
The role of the foundation over the next decade.
The foundation is a centralized entity. We started it 4 or 5 years ago, and the idea is support the development and adoption of Litecoin and cryptocurrency in general. So I think the role of the foundation is more of kind of a supporting the network, supporting the community, supporting adoption, and less about control. So there's always room for something like the Litecoin Foundation to exist and help with Litecoin. And there's always room for more than one foundation. Bitcoin has quite a few foundations supporting Bitcoin. So it's not, although Litecoin Foundation is centralized, the currency is still decentralized, where anyone can create their own Litecoin Foundation or association or community or committee or whatever to support Litecoin.
I myself have launched what is referred to as a shitcoin, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't pay too much mind to it, much like you. What are some sort of things you could say to a newly minted creator of a coin token, and to watch out for or be conscious of? What can I learn from you who has gone down this path before already?
Well, I think the most important thing is that whatever you create is valuable in some ways. It adds some value, right? It's not a people like to say like a solution looking for a problem, right? You're actually out there to solve something, right? a lot of shitcoins are the opposite, right? They're like a meme coin. They're a solution looking for a problem. They're not really adding any value, and that's why they're called shitcoins, because the only value added is kind of a Ponzi scheme where people who invest money later on will benefit people who invested money early on, and that's not something that is useful to society. So what I would say is, if you're creating a coin, make sure you're doing it for the right reason and you're adding value.
How do you feel about those kind of expectations that build from those that hold your token that would never have been part of this club, if you like, without you initiating that token creation?
I think for those specific instances you're talking about, where the kind of the investors of the coin expects the creator to pump the coin, is what is a problem. Obviously, it's what makes these coins like a Ponzi scheme, right? So all the investors care about is that the creators out there increasing the value of the token to benefit the investors, right? And there's no real value added, right? It's a problem. And same thing with Litecoin. A lot of investors in Litecoin, all they care about is price. I mean, to be fair, that's what most people care about, is just making money, right? All they care about is price and not about using Litecoin or whether or not Litecoin is useful to society. And they expect me to be out there tweeting about Litecoin all the time and helping the price go up and making announcements, right? Making partnership deals and stuff like that would actually do nothing but only increase the value of coin, probably just temporarily, so that they can cash out. And I think that's bad, right? That's bad for the future point of the coin, and not something I do.
Distinguishing like distinctive differences between those communities that reside on that type of chain, proof of work versus proof of stake, and similarities major that stick out for you?
I mean, I think the community is the same, right? It's very similar. The only difference between a proof of work chain and a proof of stake chain is mining, right? So with proof of work, you'll see companies built around mining infrastructure, building mining ASICs, and doing mining. Whereas with proof of stake, you have companies built around staking. So that's basically the only difference. The rest is about the same. You'll still have the same people, just investors or people pumping the coin, and yeah.
So you don't think there's something that gives sort of more strength in their belief of the token or the creator, in the fact that there was, proof of work is an extremely expensive aspect of those networks, which has just been completely thrown out the window with proof of stake.
Yeah,
right?
The difference is kind of, I mean, you can call it like intrinsic value, right? It's the amount of money that it costs to create a coin, kind of creates a floor to the intrinsic value of the coin, whereas proof of stake, a pure proof of stake coin doesn't have that. Something like Ethereum has it because at one point it was being mined, but with proof of work, I believe there's more intrinsic value in the actual coin, in the actual token, than a proof of stake coin.
Right on. Okay, Charlie, mate, much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.